welcome back to Saga of Three Kings, session number 44, entitled Different Tunnels. Last session, the group defeated a band of patrolling salamanders with the Kua that were capable of punching holes through the stone. They lost their frost giant friend Imgrind, who was killed several times. Several times. After his death, the group took a short rest and basically brushed off the heat and woundage that they had suffered at the hands of the Salamander band. Then the group decided that it would be necessary to report Imgrun's demise to the group, or to the Frost Giants back in the town they just left. So Shambles sprinted, being the fastest. Benson, Rooklyn, and Grok remained at the site of the Salamander skirmish, having taken a safe position inside of a strange alcove. Kind of noting the architectural structure here, Benson, you would note that this appears to be very old Osirian, um, well back in their history, if not pre-Osirian. The peoples that lived in this region before Osiria became a three king nation. And lastly, and where we'll be starting, Raya saw a passageway that had steps and elected to descend down those steps, telling the group to wait, I presume, for him to return. Correct?
I don't know if I said anything about waiting. I just said, who cares? Anyway.
Okay. Now, the thing that I did not state, because again, at the end of the session, last session is when we kind of rushed through a couple of things. So I want to make sure certain things that weren't on the table in those last few moments are thrown out onto the table. Benson, Rooklyn, and Grok, you see Raya heading down a strange tunnel. Do you want to follow him or allow him to go by himself?
Wasn't I given an item to look at?
Yeah.
Like any items? So I would be focused on the bag of holding.
Yeah,
you would. What I would be focused on.
You would have been able to figure that bag of holding out shortly, very shortly after Shambles left. And it has the items I mentioned last session.
Yeah, I would be focused on that personally.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think that we would want, Grok at least wouldn't want the party to split up without knowing what's going on, so he would probably try to at least get within earshot of Raya and like whisper, "Where are you going?"
Brooklyn would be definitely where he found that book on his religion. He'd be searching that room.
Okay.
Looking around in there.
You'll note that a lot of these texts seem to be very old and very haggard. Looks like time, heat, and dryness has kind of caused them to become crackly, and kind of the pages are very worn. But for the most part, you're able to kind of breeze through these books and kind of get an idea of what this happens to have been. And it appears to have been an anti-temple. Not anti as an A-N-T-I, A-N-T-E, like a antechamber or subsection of a temple outside of a much more larger compound or campus. Based on what you see here, it looks like the people here were known as wayfarers. They worshipped the goddess Regulus, who is the goddess of roads in your religion, and they basically were the ones who would either walk the pilgrims who came to this place to the end of the heat, or they would walk them back out of the heat to the drums of the dead, which you would know would be the realm of the goddess Nermod, the goddess of the seas. And based on what Shambles had explained when he was in the weird water room in the descent, he said there. Did you tell them about that, Shambles, or no?
I said there was something in a pile of bones.
Pile of bones.
under the statue, and I, yep.
You presume that people who made this pilgrimage to basically come up here to the site would be seeking either the gift of Hazil, rebirth, and be brought back, or they were seeking an end to their life, and they would go to the drums of Nermod and basically be buried, well, end their days with the dead. That said, this does take you some time to kind of gather, but definitely good information here. It doesn't look like this place has been utilized in quite a long time. Quite a long time. And Benson, are you doing anything in particular that would have been different or contrary to how we ended last session, or no?
I believe not. No.
Okay, so continuing kind of just getting stuff and seeing Grok kind of wander off. Raya, Grok is very loud and very easy to detect. Very quickly notice that he is behind you, and he whispers whatever Andy had said, Grok had said. And then
Where are you going?
I'm gonna mention we saw the sign over the door about the egg passing, so this might have some importance. I'm gonna head down, see how far these stairs go, see if there's anything important down here.
Okay. And Shambles is gone as well?
Shambles has already run away, yeah.
Okay.
You
So
leave
then
Raya.
I'm gonna, leave him do his thing.
Okay. You travel down the steps for the pre-described matter. During the travel, which again is slow, quiet, which is kind of nice actually. You notice that
Final.
right. You notice that the walls have a lot of detailed carvings in them, not paintings, not sculpture work. It literally is kind of just someone took a chisel to the wall and kind of dug into it very crudely. But they are very ornate. Looks like someone spent a lot of time in this medium, despite it being a medium that isn't particularly beautiful. It looks like the patterns that are designed here are not too dissimilar from what you've seen of Brooklyn's holy symbol, not too dissimilar from what you've seen of the stylings so far in the temple above. It looks like this is very much a Vazriel kind of wow. Tracking back in time. This is a very much a Agamemnonid worshipping site. And it does look like a lot of these icons here, for the first couple of 100 feet or so, they are similar to what was upstairs. There's the woman of air and the woman of fire kind of on both sides of the hall, kind of chiseled out with their holy symbols present. As you continue further on, you see another two women that you haven't seen so far in this place. One appears to be, very crudely designed with a very different kind of symbol, which kind of looks like an X and a P kind of connected, like the P kind of slotted down in between the bisection of the X. And then on the opposite side of her, you would see the holy symbol that you have kind of gathered that is the main protagonist of the Agamemnonid religion. But yeah, continuing on further down, after 30 minutes, it comes to a point where you can see below there is kind of a glowing, kind of pulsing, bluish colored light coming out onto the steps, and it seems to be coming out of a portal way that leads into a larger room. This is you're able to spot this quite a distance above, and as you've traveled about a mile at this point, you would see that there's no light behind you that you can see. It's completely shadow behind, and just a kind of faint pulsing blue light ahead that seems to illuminate the steps and lead into a passageway or a doorway.
A larger room, you're saying?
Presumably a large room, based on the way the lights are playing.
And what's the environment like down here? Is it dusty?
It is not, and also the temperature dropped substantially after the first 10 or 15 minutes or so. Instead of being hot like it was upstairs, this passageway seems to be very chill. Not freezing cold. I'd say somewhere in its like 50s, 40s, high 40s.
If it gets to a point of cold where I feel like I want the poncho, I'll put it back on.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, for comfortability's sake, sure, you toss that bad boy back on, and like I said, maybe about 100 or 150 feet or so, you can see the entryway into whatever these stairs lead down to, and you would also note that there seems to be a kind of playing bluish light kind of coming out of that place. It doesn't seem to be moving with a regularity either. It is a very chaotic pulse.
Okay. I will stick to the ceiling and then approach stealthily.
Okay. As you come to the opening of the portalway, you would see that you are looking into a very massive chamber. I'm going to go ahead and move you to the map, and I think everyone will kind of be pulled to it as well. And you would see that there appears to be a massive blue light well off in the distance ahead of you that seems to kind of just take up the entirety of the wall opposite of where you entered in. It looks like the walls around it are kind of not too dissimilar from coral, except it's more of a crystalline kind of structuring, but it seems to kind of fashion out of the massive blue hole of light in the wall in that way. You can also see what appear to be horns that are kind of growing out of those positions, and spikes that are kind of coming out of the coral that are more of a black stone coloration. The walls of the chamber around it and around that back end seem to just disappear into shadows or into light or both. Very twisting nature. And it doesn't seem like the ground continues after a point. It looks like this chamber was once a massive kind of like hall, possibly like a temple hall or like where a throne would be seated. And you can see that it's been broken up. The ground has been ruptured with these kind of dark colored horns that have come up out of the ground and broken up the stone here and there. The thing you notice right before the bright light hole is there appears to be an altar and blood kind of smattered across what appears to be like a bridge that kind of cuts off before it gets into the light. And there are some markings on the ground beneath you that seem to be similarly similar to rather the holy symbols you've seen of the Achaemenid. As you kind of look into the portalway, the light kind of pulses, and you can feel like a strange wind kind of wisping through the chamber, kind of moving here and there, but not exiting the chamber.
Okay. What's the temperature like down here?
Still about 40s, 50s.
It looks like this used to be one continuous path and it's been broken and fallen down.
Like this was some sort of, you can see that there are broken pews on the ground too. This looks like it might have been some kind of like chapel or room where services would be held.
I'm gonna enter.
Okay. The wind kind of seems to move about you, and you can feel it kind of, moving through your robes, your poncho, the like. It's not cold. It's just present, and it seems to be almost sentient. The way it kind of maneuvers around you, it's like feeling you out.
I'm gonna lower my hood
Okay.
and just kind of accept that the wind is passing over me.
Okay. Yeah, nothing really changes at that point.
Look forward to investigate the horns that are in front of me.
Okay. As you move up to them, you would realize that they appear to be made out of a strange combination of stone and charcoal, you think. At the bases of these, you can see that there's kind of pooling in the cracks of kind of a dark substance. It has a very... you've been to a gas station, you know what petroleum smells like. It has a very oily smell to it.
Real world, this is like crude oil.
Correct.
Fantasy world, this unknown black substance.
Yeah. You would note too that there is a lot of blood staining on the stone work here. Some of it appears fresher than others. Some of it looks like it might have happened not too long ago.
That seems normal. Are there any kind of footprints down here?
Not where you're standing, no.
I'll walk around a bit and see what I can find as far as tracks.
Okay. You can see that the stone structure ahead of you, the pathway, kind of actually goes up and elevates to that high point. So the diving board, for lack of a better description.
Plank. The plank.
The plank. It does appear to kind of go up and ramp up towards the light a bit, and you can see that there's blood on it from your position.
Somebody's been throwing corpses in there.
You're not sure. Do you continue advancing?
A little. I want to look in these blood stains for footprints.
Okay. Yeah, there isn't any.
Okay.
If you'd like, you can make a medicine check or an investigation check. Your choice. Result obviously would be different depending on choice.
For investigation.
Yeah, these appear to be very spontaneous patches of blood. Like, especially around the area you're in, like you feel like this blood just appeared and kind of smattered across the ground where it's at.
Is there like a pattern to it?
Very much kind of explosive outwards from center points. You can see about half a dozen center points.
Is there a ceiling in here at all?
There is. You would note that the ceiling in here, especially, sorry. You would see that the ceiling above you, specifically after this point, moving inwards towards it, is covered with this strange kind of lightly glowing blue kind of vinage or coral, or it's not. It's definitely not organic, but it's definitely not organic.
Yeah, I'm gonna wander up and check out this altar then.
Okay.
Nice and cautiously.
As you kind of enter into this position here, you can see that the light starts to change, the big glowing light, and you can see a face start to appear in it. And then everywhere, like the entire room is talking to you, you hear a voice say, "Hello." It appears to be a female voice.
Hello?
What are you, strange one?
I don't know anymore.
Neither do I. That is why I asked.
I was human. Kind of. I
Interesting.
believe I'm an elf.
Interesting. So, did you wander here by accident? Or with purpose?
A little bit of both. I have a friend seeking out the Phoenix, and we found this way on our travels, and thought I'd check it out.
Phoenix? You hear, with a question mark kind of to it. What is that?
A large bird, I think. Fire has something to do with it. I'm not really sure.
Bird? What is that?
It flies.
You speak strangely.
Trying to be as plain as I can.
You wandered in here, though. I apologize. This place is off limits to those who do not seek to give gifts.
What gift do you like? To get or give?
Give gifts. And you're coming in weird. Does anybody else have that problem with Jeremy? Like,
No, I hear him.
okay, I mean I hear him, but sometimes
think
he
so.
sounds muffled. Maybe I'm losing my mind. I'll probably just lose my mind. It's fine. You said, what kind of gifts do you like? The answer replies, gifts. It doesn't seem to understand that there is any. It seems that there's one description of the word gifts for this entity, and it really doesn't know how to explain it other than that.
It's sacrifices.
I have a trinket. I'll hand that out and ask her if she's interested in it. I'm gonna approach her if she'll let me.
Yeah. If you head on up, you can see that the altar has 3 items on it. What looks like a purse made out of purple velvet. What appears to be a bag made out of kind of a white cloth tied up with what appears to be a gold string, and a single diamond, which looks like it's probably the size of a baseball.
Oh, revivify.
I'm
And you have the trinket in hand, and you kind of hold it outwards, right?
Yeah.
You feel the wind kind of move around your hand and kind of encapsulate it, and then the thing starts to kind of burn to the touch. You're not sure if it's burning or it's super cold or if there's some other element at play. Do you try to hold on to it, or relinquish the trinket?
feel like she's trying to pick it up.
No, it just feels like that whatever it is focusing on it with its attention, and in doing so, it's causing it to become very hard to hold.
I'll wrap my poncho around my other hand and kind of switch hands and holding it out for it.
Okay. As you kind of watch it, you can see that the trinket and your cloak start to become as one. And you can see that it starts to turn the trinket into the crystalline structures and starts to kind of break it up in your hand. And you can see it spreading out to your cloak. Do you relinquish the trinket at this point, or still hold on to it?
I love it.
Okay. The second it releases, you can see parts of the cloak kind of break away.
Poncho, not cloak.
Sorry, poncho. Confirmed poncho. And the trinket hits the ground and kind of dashes, like someone dipped it in. I can't even think of the damn words right now. You know that cool science experiment that they always do on science shows?
Yeah, we get it. Yes, that.
That. I can't think of what it's called now for the life of me.
I apologize for dropping it.
Oh, no worries. It wasn't very interesting. The face is now completely like manifest in the light. You can see that it is a female, face, and there appear to be wisps of hair kind of flowing back into whatever
Wisps.
whatever dimensionality it is that this entity is showing itself from.
It had to be wisps.
Fucking wisps.
I apologize, and if she'll let me, what or who are you?
What? It asks in response, confused.
I'm not familiar with your kind.
I have asked the question of people who have entered this place a dozen times, but no one has ever asked me what I am. You see the face kind of vanish in the light, and then kind of more of a silhouette in the light, more sizable to what you would presume is a normal size. You see that there's a woman kind of floating in the light. She's wearing a black robe, which kind of flutters, but kind of keeps low enough that the top of her head is not very visible. Her hair is kind of fluttering out, which is a bright red color, and her skin appears to be very pale underneath. Her hands come out and kind of clasp in front of her as she floats in the light. She says, I am not sure. As you are not sure what you are, I'm certain that you know who you are. I can feel that you do. I do not have the same certainty.
But you are something, right?
Everything is something. Nothing is nothing. Your head explodes, and you find out why everybody's.
That's the blood.
That's what did it. She said that, and they
Roll intelligence save.
exploded.
Roll explosion saves.
No explosions. We're gonna cut.
3 death saves at once.
Cut from you for a second, and we're going to snap back to the Salamander crew. As you're waiting there, oh wow, that jumped right into the action music. I did not expect that. I will leave it. It's fine.
I've got the music turned way down. I can hardly notice.
No worries.
Also, Chody stepped away on a phone call, it looked like.
Perfectly fine. I was going to say, as you're kind of sitting there and finishing up your studies, Grok, your major concern at this point would be Raya's been gone a long time. Where?
Right, and he's already told Rooklyn and Benson where Raya said he was going.
Yeah, Rooklyn was very, very concerned with books, and Benson was very, very concerned with probably shadowing Rooklyn or doing his own stuff. So you mention this to the two, and then readdress your concerns. And as you do, you kind of hear sounds of kind of metal clattering coming up from the tunnelway where you were headed initially. Once that happens, what do you do?
That doesn't sound very good.
So does it sound like the creatures that we just fought?
It sounds like chains.
They did use a lot of chains, and I don't know of many other things that would come from that way that would be good using chains.
How long has Raya been gone?
30 minutes.
So Grok would suggest that the three of us follow Raya.
Okay. I can see the reason. We don't want to leave him down there for dead. Should we leave something up here to let Shambles know where we went? Because nobody can tell Shambles because he's not here.
Right. Do you have something of your own you can drop? We should do this quickly.
I can drop my holy book at the door, at the front, and then we can just kind of go down there, and hopefully he'll get the hint.
Yep.
Okay. That's what we'll do then. I'll put the holy book down in front of the door, kind of leaning against it, and then as we go down, I guess we can shut it behind us.
Okay. Do you want to try and get a look at the ones that are approaching before you retreat, or is it literally just a, oh shit, scary, and then run?
I'm too low health to actually
Yeah.
take the chance on
So
that one.
so Rooklyn is definitely on board with the fuck
Yeah.
it.
Get down there, bro.
If there's a sense that, I mean, we do recall some. Did we
Vincent
all of us here
heard-
say reinforcements?
Vincent told us about it. I remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we would not be stupid, and we would know that that's a possibility. If we heard more of them coming, and we're kind of busted up, we might as well just follow Ryan.
Yeah, but it might just be one. Maybe
It
two.
might.
You don't
Sure.
want to. You don't want to try and get a look at them.
I'm not stealthy enough. I'm full plate armor.
Yeah,
I
Brock
don't.
is
I don't care either way. I'm trying to bait you into getting murdered.
no.
I mean, I'm trying to.
Yeah, I'm going down the
Why
stairs.
you hate us? Why do you hate us?
Fair enough.
I'm getting down the steps.
Okay, we will assume that Benson goes on board with the process. If not, I'm sure the two of you could probably lift
Drag him down there, yeah.
and just take him. He's currently
If all of his defense leaves, he'll probably go too.
he's currently glitching out, so he's like in T pose. You just kind of pick him up and like, it's like player disconnected. Okay, well, we're gonna keep this guy with us. Okay, great. So then we'll just swap back to the music we were playing before, and yeah, back to talking to Raya. The entity that you see before you, it kind of lingers there in the light, and I believe the inquiry. What was the last inquiry? Did you ask me something, or did we just kind of?
She said nothing is nothing, and then my head exploded.
Right, that's right. Okay,
We
cool.
cut away.
All right, so at about 30 minutes, or probably less time, because you guys are not running or moving with stealth. You are,
We're just running down the steps.
yeah, every so often stopping and looking over your shoulder. Okay, so you'll probably be there in 15. So, tracking time. Me and him had discussion for about 10 minutes, give or take. So within 5 minutes, Jeremy, you are going to have visitors. But that said, nothing is nothing, the entity says.
See. So we don't know what you are. Is there something people call you?
No. Most who come here come with gifts. They leave the gifts there, and points to the ramp up. You can see that it looks like there's a massive blast of like blood stained on the thing, and you can see that there's actually fresh blood that's kind of pooled and kind of leads up, and you can see footprints, very dainty, small feet. You're not sure whether child, halfling, female. You're not sure. It's just not very large feet.
All in humanoid though.
Yes, humanoid for sure. 5 toes, very humanoid. But yeah, you would see that looks like someone or something that had human feet walked through a pool of blood that's still fresh. I mean, it's congealed kind of at the top a bit, but it's still like if you kind of tap at it, it's still liquid, and it looks like they were exploded on the
Still got that pudding skin on it.
Yeah. It's got that pudding skin on. That's flawless. But yeah,
Kind of point at it, and is that the gift you're after?
that's where they leave the gifts.
Gift life?
What is... Ah. Yes.
No, I only brought my own.
I am assuming that is not something you wish to forfeit.
Not yet.
Hmm.
Hasn't been great, but something.
I suppose it matters not. It's not like it does anything for me. But it's what they do here. So I assumed it's what you were doing here.
Who is it that normally brings you the gifts?
I do not know. Again, as you are certain of who you are, and I am not of me, I also have never asked them specifically. Well, who are you? She says as she kind of has this. I've never asked him who he is.
I'm Mishrael
Hmm.
of Vitali, former human, now elf.
Very strange. These terms.
Once dead, twice lived.
Human, elf.
Rookie numbers.
Interesting. She kind of lingers there in the light, and her eyes kind of turn violet in color, and then they turn back to the regular kind of color that they were, and she says, "Others approach. Gift bearers, perhaps."
Perhaps. They may be my friends. Well, traveling companions.
We got downgraded from friends to traveling companions.
What is?
Can you see them? How do you sense them?
She says, "What is friend?"
That should look out for you, have your back, believe in you.
Is this like elf or human?
No, this is a pretty generic word. I'll say it in all the languages I know. Everybody has a word for it, but
Do you speak?
we're getting it in common, deep, draconic, elvish, dwarven, and even deep. Why not?
She has no idea. She kind of lingers there. Across the way, since you're kind of backlit by the light here, everyone else kind of enters into the chamber, and I'll get your tokens out here in a second. Might not be important.
It's a bond between two entities.
Strange. Again, a very unfamiliar subject matter, but you had asked a question. I'd interrupted. Something regarding my sensing of them?
Yeah, how did you know they were coming?
The same way I knew you were coming. The winds.
You sense things beyond the door? I only noticed the wind when I entered the room.
I sense everything that's touched by the winds.
Winds are these?
The dark winds. The white winds.
Sounds familiar. I think we use those terms as magic on the surface.
Interesting.
One
Magic.
one of my traveling companions, at least one, is able to manipulate these winds.
Interesting. Magic. She kind of lingers there still. The three of you, what the fuck? You see, as I've described, a horror show.
Raya, are you okay?
I'll be right at home. This place is great.
Yeah, he's backlit, so it's like just literally silhouette, and you would all notice that his ears are out and about, and his hood is pulled back, which is something you've never really seen Ryan do.
My ears are so up.
Yeah, elf ears, for those who aren't familiar with my setting, are very long and pointy. You can kind of bend back and move at the will of
Like
the
a
elf.
Hard ears.
Kind of like in WoW, but not too dissimilar from like a fox's or cat's ears. They can kind of move them to hear better in directionality. But yeah, also horns and rocks and blood and shit.
Doesn't look like a cool place.
That is dope.
I guess we'll start. I guess I screamed to Raya if he's okay.
Yeah. Seeing this the form as it stands, you can make one of 3 skill checks. This is for all 3 of you as you approach. Again, because each one of you has kind of an association with what might be happening here. You can either make an Arcana check, a Nature check, or a Religion check. And Raya, are you trained in any of those 3 or no?
I'm walking over there.
Arcana, Nature, Religion?
No.
Yeah, that's what I assumed. So yeah.
You're a hunter. Does that help?
Work on it.
23.
Okay, so Chody, the scenario you're looking at here, this appears to be a raw moat. What a raw moat is when winds, the power that creates magic, the power that you manipulate to make magic, when it basically comes to a point and kind of can't escape that point, for whatever reason, it creates a raw moat. That is pure magical energy that sits before you in its rawest form. And you've never seen a raw moat, so you have no context as to how big they should be. But this one appears to be some 50 feet tall, possibly more deep, because you can't see if it goes into the floor or not, and it's about 40 feet wide.
Are they seeing the face, or are they seeing the humanoid in front of me?
They see neither.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of light and a shadow silhouette of Raya. And then Rooklyn, you don't know for sure, but the symbols on the ground do appear to be the symbols of the 4 sisters, but there seems to be a symbol in the center which is different than what you would expect. Normally it'd be the 4 sisters that helped Carlaz through his journey, and then in the center would be Carlaz's symbol. Carlaz's symbol's not present. There's another symbol there, which you're not 100% sure what it is. And then Grok, you can see that this is manipulating the reality of nature, so much so that you do not feel that you are currently in the material plane. With a 23, you know that you happen to be set inside of the ethereal, which the Feywild is the ethereal, but this seems to be kind of like a juxtaposition of the material and the Feywild, a near ethereal.
Oh wait, is the Fae in the ethereal?
Yeah, well, the Feywild is the ethereal.
Okay, so this is the Fae then.
Well, it's basically this place seems to exist between the two.
Okay. I would
Which
say
is why it's not technically the Feywild, because had it been, Raya would have basically picked up on that very quickly. He has not picked up on the fact that he's in a different dimension. Or a border.
I guess we would all have to walk up to Raya to make sure he's not just standing there, because he hasn't answered my question yet, so he could just be dead standing there.
The first thing you would notice is the winds seem to be cognitive. They seem to be functional. They seem to be ordered. And they move around you each as you enter in.
In my defense, I've only been to 2 dimensions so far, so I'm not real familiar with the differences.
Would those of us that are magic users notice anything different about like our magical abilities? Are they enhanced in any way?
No, yeah, no difference.
Okay.
Can I approach the moat? Are we okay with it?
Yeah, sorry.
I'm walking.
I guess to answer your question kind of underhandedly, but through Chody, with your Arcana check of 18, you would know that any magic cast here would probably sink into that moat and basically be pulled right to it.
Okay. Okay.
So black hole for magic.
Correct. Exactly that.
I'm gonna look back and look at him, and then just turn around and whisper to her, like, "Yeah, I know those guys. I like the little one."
They are your friends.
Companion.
She kind of nods. Yeah, the rest of you kind of approach, moving up the stairs, seeing these strange horns, the petroleum, as mentioned, and
Do I feel that my residium is pulling me that way or anything? Or is that going to all fall out like my other stuff did?
Is it in a bag of holding?
No, it's just a bag of 500 gold pieces of residium is what I have.
Yeah, but are you just carrying that on a purse, or is it inside of the bag of holding?
I don't have a bag of holding.
Oh, sorry. Well then,
Yeah,
yeah.
you do. You emptied one out, remember?
I
You
guess.
totally put those all in there.
I mean, if I'm keeping it, yes, but honestly, like this whole time that I've had it, I have not been holding it.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, you have it on your person, and like you kind of look down to it and kind of check it. It doesn't seem to have changed at all. If you kind of look into it to kind of curiously look at it, a couple of like small specks of the sand kind of slip out, and you very quickly tighten the bag and shut it closed. And the sand seems to move towards the light.
I can't get closer. I gotta be careful. Like my savings. I need this.
It's a money pit.
Yep, I'm not gonna go.
The entity looks to you as they all approach and says, "They feel like gifts."
No.
So those of you who've approached, Raya, you're the only one that sees the entity floating in the light. The rest of you see a female face in the light, but do not see the silhouette of the woman floating there.
Did I feel like a gift when I came in?
No. You don't have spell slots.
That's what I was getting at. All of them have the ability to manipulate your wind. Is that what makes them a gift?
The gifts always were capable of storing the wind within them.
I'm not well versed in magics. I know each of them can. We say cast a spell, use magic, but it's not something I'm terribly familiar with.
Ah. They're wind weavers.
That term makes sense.
As am I.
Which wind or winds do you typically weave?
All of them.
Do they work the same for you, or do you prefer one over the other?
I suppose I haven't done it in some time. All I can remember ever doing is taking the winds that were given to me, the gifts.
In what ways would you typically weave them? I'm just going to sit down on the floor and keep talking to her like a child.
I don't know. I guess I haven't tried. I just know that I can.
Would you like to try?
I suppose I can. She now appears to everyone, and you can see her kind of floating there in the light, the face kind of shedding away from the light, and the silhouette of this woman. Black robe, pale skin, red hair, hood kind of drawn down to about here, so you can just see her red lips kind of moving as she speaks. She raises her hand, and in her palm, the symbol that was in the center of the holy markings on the ground is in her palm and starts to glow. She kind of moves her fingers so fast you can't see that they're moving, but you can also see that they're moving. And she then points at the spot in the center, and you see a massive blast of lightning just discharged from her hand into that spot with a loud kind of sickening pop.
Wow. That looked very powerful.
To Benson, it's even stranger because you start to see the lingering magic that would kind of rest where magic is cast start to move back. It's very subtle, but you can see that the magic she had just cast, the lingering magic that would, like, a lightning bolt was just cast there, you see it just kind of moving back into the light.
You appear to be very powerful. Was that... I know my friends, they have levels of their spells, and they can manipulate these to do things stronger than normal. Was that normal for you, or...?
It's just what came to mind when you asked me to do it.
Wow.
I don't remember much besides the gifts. I feel like that was something someone knew. One of the gifts.
You've taken these gifts?
Well, yes.
Are you able to recall from the gifts?
Just that. And I suppose others like it. She kind of takes a second, kind of closes her eyes, which you can't really seem to see, but you can see that there's kind of a glowing violet color coming from underneath. Another approaches.
Can you tell what it is?
I cannot.
Does it wield the wind?
I cannot tell yet.
Benson's the only one back there.
I guess we should watch together.
Oh, Benson's there. I assume he just hasn't moved his token over. It's fine.
Oh,
no,
I,
he said he
I
was
would
staying
not
back
have gone
there,
up.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're staying back. Okay,
If
got
it's
it.
pulling my residium out, no, I'm not going up there.
It only pulled it out because you opened the bag. Once you closed it, it stopped coming out.
Right.
I tell her I only
Then
have
would go up there.
one other friend that was traveling with me, but he shouldn't be along for some time now.
We hear her talking, right? Like it's not just
Yeah.
her and him kind of. Okay. I just wanted to make sure we weren't just standing here watching him stare at this lady in the light.
Have
Perfectly
a
acceptable.
conversation
Okay.
with myself.
Rock
It's
would
just
say
talking.
to Raya, we heard more of the fire snakes come up, and that's why we followed you. Maybe it's them.
Ah,
Oh.
it is one of the ones who brings the gifts. Benson, since you kind of hung back, you're kind of looking that way, and you can see kind of a red glow coming down the tunnelway.
Did they have feet?
What are feet?
Salamanders. No, I'm asking you.
No, they
Did
didn't
salamanders have
have
feet?
No, they don't.
Then
I would tell the group that if we need to have some place to hold up, I can cast a tiny hut for us to hold off.
let's not do anything.
I'm not sure, not with this mode.
This is her home. She
Yeah.
can take care of it. I see this.
Benson looks worried.
I point into the footprints. The gift bringers. They have feet. These.
Looks down. No.
More of a tail, and I point at Grok.
Who has like a little tail, turns around and goes. More like gestures to one of the horns.
I think we're thinking of the same thing. Those were attacking us on the surface.
Benson, you would see that salamanders starting to enter into the passageway just behind you.
I would say, guys, and I'd start moving up as quick as I can to try to get away from the opening.
This one looks different than the others. Appears to be wearing kind of shamanistic kind of attire. Looks like they're wearing a lot of mithril and ornate kind of patternings. It starts saying something in Ignan, which none of you understand.
Because he's the one that they said that, and they said they had troops in Ignan, and he understood it.
Yeah, I
Oh.
got my ring.
Okay, yeah, that's right. So you would understand that he appears to be saying, please, light bringer, do not allow these ones to trick you. We are the ones who bring you the gifts. These ones will serve as gifts as well. The blue light kind of starts to dim inwards, but the moat still kind of holds its like low, but the external light seems to kind of dim inwards towards the moat. And you see the entity kind of look at you all. And then she says to you, Raya, are you trying to deceive me?
No, I've only told you truths.
You see her kind of raise her head up a bit so you can see her eyes, and they start to glow blue. Tell me truthfully. Do you say the same thing?
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know what you was specifying.
You feel yourself assailed as you're answering the question with some external force. You felt it before.
Yeah,
You've
I
been
accept it.
you've been submitted to a zone of truth once or twice in your life, and you see the entity kind of, and then reply, and the room, again, still filling with the voice, kind of slams out in kind of a fiery kind of tone as she seems to be speaking the creature's tongue. You see him kind of, and then reply back in kind, and then you watch her kind of raise her hand, and then
Okay.
the common tongue says,
Okay.
"No more treachery." She closes her fist, and you watch the salamander just detonates all over the floor.
Oh, so that's what those are.
You see like a lingering outline of him kind of floating in the air, and it all just zooms right into the moat.
That was the gift?
He was a windweaver. He was not a gift. He was the one who gave the gifts.
Well, yeah.
But-
But that is how you accept them, typically?
Correct. Twice before, he has said things that I was not certain of.
I'm gonna whisper to Raya. You should ask her about this symbol. I don't know what that is.
I don't care about your symbols. What untruths had he told you before?
I don't remember. I just know that he wasn't honest twice before. And now he said to me that you were attempting to deceive me, but I saw no deception in your face.
I wouldn't have a reason to deceive you.
I believe that. She looks to Brooklyn. You had said something about a symbol.
Yeah, I'm gonna point to the symbol that's in her hand, like kind of. Yeah, that symbol. I know the rest of these symbols, but I don't know that one.
I don't know it either. I feel like it defines me in some way, but I don't know what it means.
Describe the other four to her, see if it helps her figure it out.
I'll describe to what the other four symbols they are meaning. And
Okay. You can make a religion check if you prefer. You can add charisma instead of your intelligence to the roll.
okay.
Or persuasion if you're trained in it. That works as well.
Oh yeah, I'll do persuasion.
Alright.
It's a 17.
So Brooklyn goes on a sermon mode, and yeah, it does seem like he's taking some time talking. Meanwhile, Shambles, a while ago, you arrived back at the camp. You rush to the guard and you say, Imgrin died, salamanders on the road, right? Basically?
I'd class it up, but yes.
Sure, you'd say it a lot cooler.
I'd get to the point, but I'd be kinder.
Okay, and then do you immediately return back? Because it does look like they are getting ready to go.
Yeah, I would explain. It's like I need to get going. This is exactly where it is. If I can, I'll leave some kind of sign for you.
As you describe it, they say, that sounds like the wind wall and...
Narrow pass, stone bridge, wooden bridge.
That sounds like the wind wall and the heat. Yes, we will go and we will investigate it. And you think about that for a second, like what he said, and you don't know why it's called that, but you rush back. So it...
Giant culture.
It took you an hour to get there. It's going to take you an hour to get back. We're basically into hour 2 for the discussion downstairs, you finish your discussion. She looks down at her hand and she says, "I have answers." She looks to Raya and she says, "I remember. I am Lamek. I don't know what I am doing here."
It's a pleasure to meet you, Lamek.
The women you described in your story, Paladin, and you see her kind of look up at you with like a strange recognition. She says, "Are my sisters." Hold on. Jerks. Lemac, Lemac, Lemac.
Yeah, we knew.
Oh my god. She says, "Are my sisters. I remember helping him as well. And you think about it, and you remember the story is very clearly 4 sisters. You have Nermod, Egnos Kai, Regalas, and Aelith. And there was the mentor, known as Talk, who is the master of magics, who also helped teach Karlaz. So you don't know who a Lamak is, not with the religion check you got earlier. So definitely very strange, very confusing stuff that she's saying here, but very clearly not just a regular, charlatan. Definitely going well overboard on the attempts to prove that she is sister of a god or goddesses. And she says, I remember helping the man on his journeys and helping him understand where to go and what to do. I feel like my essence is being wasted here. But I feel like I cannot leave this place for some reason. Like I'm being bound to it. She kind of floats down and lands in the blasted spot. I can also realize now what I was doing was wrong.
Who was the man you were helping?
Karlaz. And she looks to Rooklyn, and Rooklyn kind of probably puts it. He's like our Jesus.
Yeah. Like the savior of our religion, yeah.
Yeah. The first.
Helping him was wrong? Is that what you said?
No. She gestures to the ground. Helping these ones. And she kind of...
Exploding people was wrong.
She kind of closes her eyes for a second. You can see the purple light kind of glowing through the eyelids. And then she opens her eyes again and says, the salamanders. They are in league with an individual known as Kalareth.
That's a name we're familiar with.
Yeah, that's the big bad.
It feels like my wind is pulling in more and more after what you have said, Rooklyn. Feels like more is being allowed through. Benson, once again, you hear something coming down the steps. It doesn't seem she's noting it, though. But you can definitely hear footfalls coming, because you're further back, footfalls coming up from behind you.
Do you know who Calra serves?
Kalareth serves. And then as you're about to get an answer, you hear a from behind Benson. And as you kind of turn and look in that direction, you all see a man standing about 6'9", in bright red crystal armor. In one hand, he's holding a massive axe. Doesn't look like he's ready to fight or anything. Just looks like he's kind of standing casually. He's got a very wizened beard and kind of a, he looks very old, but he also looks very competent martially. And he says, it's been a long time, Lamak. And she says, I do not know you. The man says, of course not. He looks to Benson as he approaches, and he kind of looks at you like he's waiting for you to allow him to pass by you. He's not just going to walk up beyond you.
Do I recognize him at all?
Make a history check.
Well,
Not at all.
I feel that she's able to take care of herself, so I mean, I wouldn't try to block his path.
Okay. He walks past you. As he does, you feel a magical presence, but you don't feel like it's being pulled. You don't feel like there's a attachment to the light, like you currently feel like there's an attachment to you. And as you kind of think about that, you realize that he's not a wizard. He's not a magic user. He's a psychic. He's a psionicist. You feel like his magic is latent from him in his mind, not from you.
Everything.
Yeah, everyone else's style of power. And he continues walking up the way, kind of making his way up. He kind of steps next to Rooklyn. Looks like he's getting ready to pass, but he kind of stops and looks to you.
Move out of the way. Let him go.
He steps up to the platform where the woman stands and looks at her. You were bound here some time ago. You had made some transgressions beyond the veil. She says, Is that why I'm here? We did not place you here, milady. Someone else did. Someone who was trying to corrupt the very essence of time itself. The entity kind of looks down. She kind of... I think I remember now. He nods. Of course. So you understand what must happen next. And she says, I do. Can I say some last things to my friends, please? And he says,
What language are they speaking?
Common. But it also sounds like they're speaking all languages at the same time to Chody. So he's hearing them, and they're talking, and he can. You guys are all hearing them in your common tongue, but Chody's hearing them all at the same time and understands exactly what they're saying. It seems,
Common tongue or your native tongue?
It would be your native tongue. Good distinction. But yeah, she walks past him, and he says, as she's passing by, he says, remember, do not interfere in their lives at all. Speaking to them is fine, I suppose, since we are not where you should be. But nothing more. She nods. She walks up to Raya and kind of smiles. Thank you. You helped pull me from what felt like a torture. My knowledge is boundless now, thanks to you. And she smiles and looks over to Rooklyn. You serve faithfully. I cannot give you anything. However, just by seeing me, I'm sure I've given you something that you will need moving forward.
Very much.
You see the man kind of look down and kind of try and puzzle through that, confused. She looks to Grok. Without saying anything that will affect the way you live your life, know this. The one you serve is great. She will be defended well by you. And then she looks beyond to Benson. It's very interesting to see such a powerful mage in such a small body. Others like you were brought here and sacrificed to me. Know that it is the will of your enemy to not only destroy you, but take the very fabric of your being to help him in his cause. She turns back and looks to the crystal-armored man. Alright, Shade. I'm ready.
What'd she say? Name-wise?
Shade. Hold on.
Shade? Okay.
And, he reaches out, grabs a hold of her shoulder. You watch her form just kind of discombobulate and then just kind of vanish. And he kind of stands there for a second, kind of scratches his brow, turns and looks back at the moat, and says, this thing's got to go too. You can stay. It might hurt, but it might be good for you. And since it's not a problem with the Covenant, it should be fine for you to linger, if you wish. He raises the axe up, kind of points the blade out towards the moat, and you watch the axe blade start kind of glowing, and a beam of kind of red energy shoots into the middle, turning the light bright red, and then it pops. Everyone in the room, if you remained, sorry, I didn't really give you a chance to leave. If you want to leave, you can.
I'm gonna stand right next to that guy.
Okay.
I'm with Raya. I'm right there.
Yeah,
Grok
I'm here.
and
Yeah, I'll stay.
Benson, you staying around in the room?
Yep. I'm curious now.
All right. If you're in the room, go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw.
9.
If you want to spend inspiration on this, it might be a good idea.
I gave mine to the giant.
I will.
Okay, Giant.
I will spend it. for
Okay.
mine.
Datic or Mishrael, no. Brooklyn, no.
I'll give mine to Mishrael.
Okay.
Woo!
Anybody giving one to Brooklyn or no?
Don't have it.
Do you have it, Brent?
No, I gave mine to the giant. Me and him traded back and forth.
All right, so you'll fail. Okay, so everyone who
Okay.
succeeded, no ill effects, but you definitely feel the magic kind of wash over you. For the next 24 hours, if you succeeded on your saving throw, you have an additional 3 levels of spell slots. So this is either 1 third level spell, 1 second level spell, or 1 first level spell, or 3 first level spells. You understand the math.
Yes,
I
yeah.
absolutely said it wrong because I'm no good at math.
I got it.
But that said, you can use that to cast spells that you are familiar with. Mishrael, since you have utilized that, you can choose to either take a 3rd level slot for a 24-hour period, a 2nd level slot, and a 1st level slot for a 24-hour period, or 3 1st level slots. Which do you choose?
Fuck yeah. I don't know spells.
Well, you don't know spells, but based on your decision, you'll get specific spells. So,
Give me a 2 and a 1.
all right, invisibility is a 2nd level spell you can cast this for today, and the 1st level spell that you can cast for today is, oh my god, why did I lose it already? It is oh god, not Longstrider. Yeah,
Jump?
no, yes.
Ha!
Not jump. Yes, it is jump. There is jump. Sorry, if it's 1st level, it's expeditious retreat. Oh my god, mage armor and why did I close that notepad? Forget it. Anyways, you chose that invisibility and jump. Those are the 2 spells that you can cast. And the rest of you who know spells, you just gain those spell slots. If you are incapable of currently casting 3rd level spells, which I think is no one, is everyone here able to cast 3rd?
I can't, but I failed to save, so.
Oh, okay. Well, for you, failure, you will be taking 8 points
Harsh.
of hit point damage, but that's off of your top, so your maximum is reduced by that much. And you gain 1 1st level spell slot.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are those gifts that Raya saw earlier still there?
Now the items on the
The diamond?
They are.
Could Rock take that diamond?
The only person currently standing there to watch you do it would be everyone else in the party and this guy in crystal armor. Speaking of the guy in crystal armor, as you're contemplating whether to lift it or not, he kind of holds the axe out and kind of puts it to his belt, turns and looks at you all. I really don't have time to play the Balcard ways, so if anyone asks you about any of this happening, it didn't.
Okay.
If it gets let out, I really don't want to have to come find you. He says as he starts walking away. And as he's walking away, cut to Shambles.
What's on his way out? Like, what's a shade?
I'm sorry?
A shade. Is it your name or is it a title?
Since you're really not supposed to have seen any of this, you can leave that to your imagination, I suppose. Smiles.
They'll make him kill you.
Walks off.
I've seen death before.
Shambles. You get
Did
up.
he use the stairs?
Yeah, he came down the stairs.
Huh. Weird. Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, Shambles. You make it back to where they were last you saw them, and you see that there are a couple of lingering individuals. I'd like for you to make either a stealth check if you want to hide from them, or you can engage them if you want, but it does look like there are about 3 of these individuals that you see. 2 salamanders and what appears to be a fire giant.
Let's sneak back up into the room and
Make a stealth check.
take it careful. 21.
They don't even see you. You flutter up onto the shelf there. The 3 of them are looking around at the dead bodies. It looks like they've been doing so for a while now. And they seem to have very kind of confused looks on their faces. They seem to be trying to puzzle out how this happened. And they mainly seem to be focused on Imgrund, the dead giant, thinking that he might have been the one who did it.
He did everything.
Yeah. But yeah, you see that there's a book sitting out in front of a doorway. It does look like the book that he was fiddling around with before you left. Right at the doorway that they descends down into the steps. You'd also have noted Raya did descend that way too. Do you go down the steps?
I did see Raya go down there. Yeah, I'll go down there very carefully.
I was honestly trying to make it so you didn't know, and I was thinking like, no, they laid it out pretty well.
I'd like to play the card that's like I wouldn't know to go down there. I'll go see what those snakes are up to.
I was genuinely trying to do it. I'm like, no,
I'll play along.
They did all right. But yeah, as you're descending down these steps, it seems to be quite a while. You do see someone's coming up towards you. It doesn't seem to have the same shape or frame as anyone. Close to Brooklyn, but taller. I think 6'9". How tall are you, Brooklyn?
Like 6'5".
Yeah, so he's taller, and he appears to be kind of wearing crystal armor. As he approaches, kind of looks up at you. Huh, he says. Weird.
Tell me about it.
You were born...
Oh.
You were born under a certain sign, weren't you? The soldier.
Bet we all were.
He kind of grins. Yeah. Except for me. And he kind of smiles. And he says, it's more of a labor than anything else. The lot you're leading. And he just starts to move past you. But he kind of stops. Kind of, almost like he's waiting for you to let him pass. Very cordially.
I hate to tie you up. Did you see a turtle and a elf man and a big
Grok.
guy?
Grok, the one known as Raya, but who calls himself Mishrael, Benson, and the knight Brooklyn are below.
Mistral is my real name.
He said the one known as Raya, but calls himself Mishrael. Yeah, I mean he's not wrong.
Okay.
He says if they tell you about anything, they're liars. And he continues walking past.
Sounds like them.
With your passive insight, you recognize that something happened.
I'll flip him a gold coin for his service. Keep on going down.
It bounces off of him and starts rattling down the stairs. Roll a d100.
Got it. 4.
It's moving at fast enough pace you cannot outpace the gold coin as it's shooting down the stairs. So yeah, everyone downstairs, you're greeted by the sound of ding, 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 and then a gold coin lands out near the doorstep.
If he can't keep up with it, it's dinging a whole lot faster than that.
No, like each ding was like pretty.
It's catching like 5-10.
Yeah,
for real.
Yeah. It's like it's good hearty bounce.
It's just hitting the right corners every time.
It's a good hearty bounce.
Always propelled forward.
Shambles, you're gonna have to squeeze by this guy. You're gonna go, nuts to butt, or
no? It's 5 foot wide. They can slip past each other.
Yeah, they're gonna have to squeeze. There's gonna be some contact.
I mean, 5 foot wide's not that wide. Look.
That dude's 6'9".
Yeah, he's
wearing crystal armor.
He's pretty thick.
Shambles has a choice to make.
But yeah, when you enter into the place, you'd see the wreckage of it. So the moat would be gone, but everything else remains. Like there's no longer a glowing hole there. It's just a hole that seems to be filled in with this crystalline substance. Cool kid, Chody, go ahead and make a Arcana check. Now that the light's gone and you can kind of see it for what it is.
18.
Crystallized residuum.
I want it.
Hundreds and hundreds of pounds of coral-like crystallized residuum.
Bag of holding, I start just slamming it in there.
He dives off of the freaking the plane.
While we're at it, I'm gonna look through the purple purse-looking bag and the white bag.
Damn it, that's what I was gonna do.
So the thief is not stealing. Grok picks up the hefty diamond. You would appraise that it's probably worth around 1,000 gold pieces.
Okay.
Cut in half, we got 2 revivifies.
The white bag opening up, it just has sand in it. It's not glowy magic sand like Residuum would be. It just seems to be just sand. Kind of a brownish and yellowish, like beach sand. And then the purse, the velvet purse, you open up inside. It has what appears to be a pair of spectacles.
Take them out, I guess.
Do you-
Just like prescription glasses.
They look like they are kind of gold wireframe with very ornate crystals that have been set as the lenses. The crystals kind of have a rainbow-like sheen to them, kind of like oil and water kind of glow to them.
I'm gonna look through them. Does
Right.
everything look different, or
Everything looks fucking crazy. Everything is glowing like mad. You move the dark vision goggles off and you put the glasses on, but everything seems to be glowing like crazy. Like you can see magical spectrums.
I'm gonna holler down to Benson. When you get done, I got a pair of glasses I want you to look at.
We're gonna make. I'm slamming stuff in the bag, and I just thought, we're gonna make so many magic items.
So,
Oh my god!
so
Brooklyn, look at me through the glasses.
Okay, I'll put them back.
What do you?
Look
What do
right.
you? What does he see?
sees you
Does he see anything specific on me?
like all of the magic items that would be glowing. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
they're
can see all your items.
they're goggles of detect magic.
Right.
Awesome.
And
Yeah. Is that mithril shirt still any good, or did it blow up with the guy?
he didn't have a mithril shirt. He had mithril like pieces on him. So the jewelry that he'd have, it's probably somewhere around 1,000 gold pieces worth of mithril.
Anything else of note on him? I'm gonna go start picking through his scraps, and somebody took my cool purses.
He had a wand.
Keeping that.
The wand appears to be made out of the same material that Benson is lavishly dumping into a bag. If you're literally getting, it's 500 pounds for a bag of holding, right?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. So go ahead and put 50,000 gold pieces worth of residuum on your character sheet.
Oh yeah, we gotta get him back safe.
That snake guy also seemed to be carrying hundreds of pounds of snake meat that he dropped everywhere. And his blood collection.
Meat's back on the menu, boys.
You
But
guys have a bag of holding?
I wish.
it does look.
Mine's full.
It does look like there is a bit more, but yeah, quite a bit more. But it doesn't look like you have many methods of carrying it out.
Keep this as in our minds. This place is here.
I mean, I could empty mine and get in that body, and then put this lighter one in there, and that's 100 pounds
What is
more.
your carrying capacity, John?
So the thing is it's not so much about carrying capacity for this. It's about having something to put it in, because you can't just carry
Cup
a
it.
big you can't carry a big pile of
That
dust.
stuff gives you cancer, I think.
Could I like?
It's also
Could I
asbestos.
take the dragon hide cloak and use it
No.
as like a?
Not
Okay.
at all.
Can I empty out the white bag of sand and put as much as I can in there?
You could get 100 gold pieces in that bag.
I'll open it.
Yeah. And also, as you dump the white sand, you see an egg drop out, hit the ground, and break.
Oh.
I hope that
Oh,
wasn't
it's a
that one
baby.
egg.
Boy, I hope that wasn't a phoenix.
I really
God.
hope not too.
It's like the yolk's on you.
You would know that the phoenix is in the core of the volcano, not offshoot that's cold. It does appear that an egg just shattered, though, on the ground, and you can see kind of like the embryonic state of whatever it was, kind of laying dead on the ground.
Hard shell or soft shell?
It was a hard shell. Smashing against the stone. Broke it with.
What time of day is it?
Who knows?
Do I feel like breakfast now?
No.
I was just checking because the egg.
Benson's down there snorting the residuum. He's doing lines of residuum.
No, he just saw the egg and he thought breakfast.
Sure, gotcha.
Wanted to know what time of day.
I mean, you can order at Mick Lamax. You can order breakfast any hour now. This joke was terrible.
Yay!
I
You
like
did your best.
I did my best. But yeah,
Reminded me of the Royale with cheese scene from Pulp Fiction.
Situation-wise, you would be kind of gathering up the treasure hoard here. But the thing that Benson is noticing is some of these crystals don't seem to be like magically inclined. They seem to be kind of residuum created. Some of them have dust on them. Some of them have dust inside of them. So it's more of a process. Like you're spending some time getting that 500 pounds of dust into your bag. It's not just a snap and grab kind of situation. So it's going to take you the better part of 2 hours.
Hold on. Did you say 500 pounds or 50,000 pounds?
500 pounds, 50,000 gold pieces worth.
Okay.
Yeah. The small bag of sand, it's not big enough to get a full pound's worth of the treasure. So it's 100
Still cool
gold.
looking bag though.
Yeah, it's got residuum in it.
Definitely had a purpose.
Yeah. Don't know what that purpose was, but
Yeah. Now it's going to be making magic items. We need to make stuff. I'm
So-
excited.
Religion people wanted goggles of detect magic, a bag of sand with an egg in it, and a big ass diamond. What do those have to do with each other? Because they're all sitting together on an altar.
maybe it was some kind of ritual to summon her. I don't know. I don't know too much about.
If they're just gifts, they're offerings. Maybe she just hadn't had a chance to break them down yet.
Gifts were all people that could use magic life. So someone was doing some type of ritual here.
Oh, thank God we put a stop to it.
And it relates to Calref, because
I say we.
my
I'm
name.
still coming
She
down
did
with it.
it.
Who is the enemy that manipulates time?
No Arcana check needed for Benson. Cardiff, the Archbreaker.
And he was the one that bound her here?
Cardiff.
Based on what you would know, yeah, it sounds like that's what happened.
And he had to have bound her here long enough ago that somehow people forgot there was a fifth goddess.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that would have happened sometime in the 400s, based on what Benson would know. In a province known as Parnak.
What
I
era
like
are we
that
in
Cardiff
now?
guy. He caused all kinds of issues.
It's like the thousands, or like the thousands.
Okay, it's like 600 years ago.
Yeah, well before the Civil War. Or at the very beginning of it, rather.
So none of that shit matters anything to me, but some of you religious and magic people, it probably
Yeah, that's-
does. You should probably write that down.
Yeah.
Cardiff bound a god here. And Calrith was doing something with it.
Feeding it, sounds like. Feeding her more specifically. But yeah, reassemble.
So feeding her magic, it always went into her, right?
Mhm.
So he was just loading this area with magical energy.
Yeah, now it's not even there anymore. It's just a bunch of residuum that's being currently shaken and scooped up into a bag by the hand of Mudas.
Is there any known way to destroy the residuum?
Yes.
Benson, I ask you that.
Make an Arcana check.
Can I ask another question, John?
Shoot.
We heard Shade, whatever its name was, mention something about Balcard. Would we know what that means?
You can make a history check. That
Um,
one will be easier than Shade.
Could I ask Benson to do it? Or
Yeah.
Benson.
Everybody seems to be loading up the history inquiries on old Benson here.
Old book reader.
He's busy
got-
looting.
Like, fuck
know,
you,
right?
fuck you, treasure.
I didn't have this.
And then Ryan's like, can you destroy the rest of the treasure? And he's like, what? No!
I got a
Yep.
27 on my first roll.
So you would know that you can basically turn Residuum inert by casting Dispel Magic on it in a specific and very certain kind of way. If you know Dispel Magic. If not, there's nothing that you have available to you other than melting it with very, 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 very hot fire, which would be like lava or magma or something in that
Never find that.
range of fire.
There you go. And then you said history next?
Yes.
For Belcar.
Balcard.
24.
Balcard, Nayland Balcard.
Oh my god, this guy!
So,
It's a cat.
yeah, most of you would know it is a cat. But no, you would also know that he is the one who created the covenant, or was one of the ones responsible for creating the covenant of the Ascended, which means gods cannot come into the material plane and are bound from doing so by an organization of mortals known as the Grey Order. And this actually would cause a ting moment between you and your Shade conversation. Shade Thathos is presumed to be one of the members of the Grey Order. He is also known as the Undying Soldier. He's said to be a member of the Elvish Zodiac, even though he was not an elf.
Zach?
Do what?
Undying Soldier.
Oh, yeah. It sucks.
He told you, dude. It's gonna be a burden. It's gonna be a
I'm
chore.
just trying to figure out what
we
exactly
had a
happened.
secret handshake.
Touching
flipping-
tips.
Yeah.
Well, that and me flipping a coin at him.
Just-
Just a sign of respect. Nobody really picked up on it. There's a lot of minutia.
Yeah.
Where I've been chased a quarter for half a mile.
I imagine there were a couple of times where like it did like
It's
that.
all very cultural. I don't expect you all to pick up on this.
I imagine there were a couple moments where it did the high bounce and you almost got it and you swung your hands and like missed it and it bonked you in the head and then shot down faster. Yeah, oh, that's great.
This is a very dated reference, but Wimpy chasing the goose with his hamburger.
I get the reference.
It's exactly that.
That is very dated.
Yeah, I watch a lot of old cartoons.
Today.
Andy, you had a question. Sorry.
We're trying to put together the pieces and understand what Shade was doing in closing this raw moat and saying like Balcard doesn't have to know. So I'm not expecting you to answer that question, but I'm based on what we just found out.
From what I'm interpreting in it, she shouldn't be in the material plane where we were able to access her, even though she's behind a door and technically not. Somebody bound her here and she shouldn't have been here. So he had to come let her out because we stumbled onto it. So he must have known she was here the whole time and was watching.
But why is this interdimensional space still here? It's like this in between space. Why
Is it? Or are we now back in the
don't
material
know.
plane?
I don't know.
There's no wind.
Yeah, the moat's gone.
Okay.
He destroyed it.
okay.
So I think that dimension's broken. And boy, I hope we can walk out of here.
Yeah, the remnants of the building still seem to be present. The horns, the weird residuum crystals, the hole. The shadows are no longer unending though. You can see that there's kind of like a cavity that's kind of formed here. That's kind of rent itself from the material things of this room. Like this room probably was just a hallway before, and is basically kind of filled out into like a circular expanse filled with horns and crystals. But yeah, that said, if you go and check the doors, you would note that Shambles arrived here after the moat had gone. Shambles has not seen bright lights or gods. And if you're describing these things he said that you saw, you were told, Shambles, that they're obviously lying. That's a bunch of bullshit. So,
My new most dear friend, we didn't exchange many pleasantries, so I didn't catch his name, that you were going to lie to me, and now I see you here in a dark cave, looting magic diamonds and standing in just pools of blood,
there
What
is
else?
so much blood.
raving about a
Hold
goddess
on,
that
okay,
everyone
hold on.
forgot.
We've been busy.
Hold on. What else is new?
Yeah, but
This is par for the fucking
this
course.
room is new.
Context is super important, and Zach, thank you for putting it nicely in perspective. You're like, holy shit.
It's just Tuesday for us.
Benson, did you explode a guy or seven?
No, this happened when I got here, but look at all this residuum.
Just be glad
We
it wasn't
can
one
make
of us this
so many things with this. This is such a good find.
Who dropped all their snake meat?
time. That'd be me. I'm picking it up.
No, it's just blood. There's no snake meat. When she exploded at him, the only things that remained were his
They like vaporized him.
The cool stuff.
Well, more liquefied him. It just turned him into a splat of blood.
Nothing left. I took it
Who
all.
wasted all this valuable snake blood? Why's it all over the floor?
Start scooping it up in my hands and handing it to Shambles.
I start like just scooping it into my hand.
You're gonna have to make room inside the bag of holding. Take out about 50 pounds.
I got room in mine. 50 pounds of snake blood.
Kidding, absolutely kidding. But that said, yeah, one full bag of holding, it's going to take you about an hour and a half to do. Based on times that we've been kind of tracking so far, this would put us in not close enough to get to long rest, but probably about 6 hours out from that. You've already taken a short rest. No one's really expended any spells or anything present here. And you probably don't want to waste too much of your 24 hours because you currently have a boon. That being stated, is there anything else that you want to do in this chamber?
It took us like 3 hours to get to the bridges, right?
Yeah.
4.
4.
From the setting to the bridges is 4 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're like 7 hours in.
Correct. And you started about mid-morning, or actually a little before mid-morning. So we're looking at like 2-ish in the afternoon.
Let's stop lollygagging. Let's get up top.
Alright, takes you about 15 minutes to get up there, because again, you were moving at a half pace and it took you 30 minutes to get down, so not too long. It is tiring, but, you know, not terribly time consuming. You get up there, because you're going uphill this time. You get up there, and there doesn't appear to be quiet as you were hoping. Instead, you can kind of hear what sounds like giant speak.
Hell yeah, burst the door open.
Alright. If you head out, you can see there are about 5 frost giants kind of standing near where Imgrund was. And they're kind of talking to themselves in giant. Benson, you hear them saying, "He died a hero."
I would let them know that, and I would tell them, yes, he did. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't.
They look up.
None of us would have.
They look up and see you and go, "Oh, the ones that traveled. We will take his body back. You are continuing in through the heat.
We will be. I'd salute him in some manner.
I will see with you."
And to the party that's going back, let them know Calreth, the enemy of the world currently trying to resurrect Ashmedea, has been storing magic at the bottom of these stairs.
You see him kind of do a tippy toes and kind of try to kind of get a look up there. He kind of like lifts himself up a little bit. And he says, "Oh, we can't fit in there.
I was pretty sure you weren't going to fit.
If you would like, we can close it forever."
That'd probably be for the best.
All right. If you get out of the way, you see one of them just kind of grab a hold of the balcony and kind of break it down, and then just shove it into the doorway, like very forcefully.
Here, I thought he was going to do like shape Earth or something.
Nope. Good old classic shape Earth.
Brute force. Close forever. Bye.
We're not that kind of giant.
I like these guys.
We're not that.
Damn.
Magic's for suckers.
Yeah, we're not a Goliath. Nerd ass cleric. Anyways, they leave.
Cool.
They are taking him in kind of a respectful manner. Do you continue then into the hallway? Do you move on?
Hell yeah.
Right.
Did he kill the other, or did they kill the other 3?
You do see that there are 2 more dead salamanders. Or actually, no, I'm sorry, 5 more dead salamanders. There are no dead fire giants. And the only person who would know of the fire giants would be Shambles.
Be doing a head count.
Giants?
I'd ask the giants before they leave.
Uh-huh.
It was like, hey, there was something like you, except more red. Does
What?
that sound familiar?
With them, he says, pointing to the salamanders.
Yes.
Fire giants are supposed to obey the truce and treaty. We do not fight amongst ourselves, and we protect Haziel.
Want to go starting anything, but it certainly seemed like he was, investigating the area with those things.
I will bring this to the attention of the Jarl. If you see any others, if they contest you, you do not act among us, and Imgrund no longer travels with you. You have your right to defend yourself. By prudence as well, if you do get the names of these individuals, they might be most helpful in the Jarl's discussion with the fire giant Jarl when it comes to pass.
I'll do my best.
Very good. Hopefully he has not given himself in vain, says another one, kind of looking up at you lot. He kind of looks like, an asshole. And then the other one kind of looks at him and says something in giant, which Benson, you would understand to mean, shut the fuck up. And they start carrying the body.
Didn't one of them say they were going with us again, or no?
No, that never happened.
No. Okay.
Nice try, though.
I tried.
The heat, something you didn't notice during the fight with the salamanders, or I mentioned very briefly and you didn't catch an eye to do. He specifically was told about this place by Shambles, and he called it the Haziel's Wall.
Wind wall?
Or the Wind Wall.
Haziel wall.
The Wind Wall, sorry, is what he called it. And you don't know why he called it that. You might be thinking that might be something to relate to what you've just encountered, but as you're kind of in this room, not resting in an alcove, and you're actually kind of looking at the room, you can see that the ceiling, there isn't one. It just goes up, and there's just sky above. Some 500 feet above you, it seems to exit out of the mountain, and you can see not only the sky above, which tells you it's about mid-afternoon, but you can also see that there's smoke kind of pluming across it, coming from the direction you're heading into. And so
I'm to assume that's the peak of the volcano?
Correct.
Be safe.
You continue through, and you make it to a point where you exit out into the open air once again in a very similar fashion.
Right? Sorry, go ahead.
The caldera of the volcano, I think is what they're called. But yeah, you come out as you were, and you would see that you're kind of coming out onto a ledge. The heat is very prominent here, and you can see that the ledge that you are on seems to, just near where you're at, to the left, there's a massive stone bridge that crosses over a massive gap. And from your position, you can kind of see what it really is. You are standing on the inner lining of the bowl of the caldera, of the volcano's mouth, if you will, and kind of out some. How many feet is this? Hold on a second. Some 100 or so feet. There is like a massive rock that kind of just sits inside of the lava. This massive rock seems to have fortifications on the other side of the bridge, and it also seems to have a massive structure kind of built up, like a mini mountain inside of the mountain that you're in. God, that was difficult. But yeah, here's the map of what you're approaching. The other thing you would notice is just across the bridge, there are two kind of defense alcoves, where two fire giants with massive blades and massive ballistas sit. And then there are two massive spike shields kind of set out on the bridge, and behind that is another fire giant with two massive shields that he is holding, that are not set, but they are of the same size. The shields look like, if you put all four of them together, would make a nice little, cottage or house. They're pretty massive, but yeah, they all stand there kind of in a defensive posture. If you'd like, each one of you can make a perception check. And let me change the music again.
I'm not rolling good tonight.
Alright, so if you got over a 20 and you aren't Shambles, you would see that the fire giants all seem to have on their armor a marking that you're all very familiar with. The draconic rune of the letter A. Also the symbol that Caloreth bears, the symbol of the cultists.
Fudge.
The Shambles, if you got a 15 or better, you don't see the A symbol, but you do see that the giant on the right, in that alcove over there, was the giant that was with the salamanders. It doesn't seem like they see you yet.
How
I need to record their names.
Get your clipboard.
Oh,
I already have it out.
sorry. One other note: you can see that the light kind of shines down, like on them. The way the sun is kind of hitting in this specific area, you're basically concealed in shadow. The bridge seems to be well lit because of its presence over the volcano and its presence directly under direct skylight. But there's a bit of shadow in this back corner over here as well, as the light isn't passing through the massive structure.
How high are the rails on the bridge?
There are no rails on the bridge.
So it's just a flat surface.
Correct.
In
Okay.
road.
Well, let's go kill some giants.
I would plan on killing them.
With heart, faith, and steel.
You
And a lot of death.
So you have the option to hail them and tell them that you have the permission of the Jarl to pass this way, and then they shouldn't, if they're holding the truth, even with this Ashmedea stuff, attack you.
That is true. 'Cause you tell them you have the Jarl backing you, I guess.
So if you walk out there and you say the Jarl backs you and has permitted you to pass, and one of them kills you, then we get to go tell the Jarl.
That's true. And we do have a
Oh,
diamond
that
there.
sounds great.
But you'd be dead.
But you-
Meanwhile, Shambles can fly and I can cast invisibility.
That's true.
Yeah, it does look like they are kind of blocking off what appears to be the entrance into the mini mountain I described. It kind of entrance-wise, it would be like right behind this asshole, like kind of this way. It does look like there are possibilities for stealth here, if you can kind of maneuver it correctly. Kind of going to the left a little bit, there isn't much more shelf space for your balcony. Neither is it the case that there's more shelf space on the left side of their balcony. And then on the right side of their balcony, it does look like there's a bit of an opening, but it is direct sunlight, and it would be very easy to kind of catch someone moving up onto that part of the balcony.
Cool. How many times, Benson, do you have invisibility as a spell option?
Of course.
How many times can you cast it? Is it a concentration thing, or is it something you just cast on somebody that lasts a certain amount of time?
Concentration, I believe. Yes, concentration.
Crap, I was gonna say, if not, you could possibly cast invisibility on all of us so we could try to sneak through, but can't concentrate on 5 different invisibility spells, so.
Could we try diplomacy?
Raya can cast invisibility
Collect their
today
names.
on himself.
So that'd
I can do it once, yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be 4 different invisibility spells you'd have to concentrate on, and I don't think you can do that.
Shambles could fly up and over.
Okay, but 3
Said
still.
that.
Channels can fly over. That just leaves me, Grok, and you.
I still need their names, guys.
See if they wrote it in the on their collars.
Oh, that's a good call. I can't read giant. You almost got me.
You just gotta write down whatever is on there. Just make the same lines. You don't have to be able to read it. The guy you're taking it to speaks giant.
That's the only things I could think of. I don't know unless you have any other spells in your inventory that could possibly get me, you, and Grok through there without alerting them too very much.
Not really. that I can see of.
No, y'all got nothing.
Yeah, too bad it's not like I cast invisibility on you. Here, concentrate on.
Sorry, my cats are being really cute. So,
Oh, sorry, wrong one. Didn't mean to hit that.
what's the plan?
I don't think that diplomacy is a bad idea. I mean, what other options do we have?
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, if one of us do die, we did just pick up a die, we can bring them back. Oh,
A high charisma character. Is that you, Brett?
So, as you're kind of looming there, kind of waiting, you would note that it does sound like something's happening above you. The mouth of the cliff that's kind of behind you, that you kind of exited out of, the wall space kind of leads out. But it seems that the cliff that kind of goes up to the opening of the volcano is some 700 feet above you. So, quite a distance. But it definitely does sound like something is happening up there. It sounds like metal banging on metal. It sounds like there's the sound of combat happening above you.
That's Donovan.
Probably Donovan.
boys? What are we doing here? Do we want to just see if a couple of us can sneak by and then a couple of us try diplomacy?
If diplomacy works, we can all go by. Just go fail that first, and then the two or three of us that are going to make it anyway, we'll just go.
Or if they hear the sounds of combat, maybe they'll go back and they'll check it out.
It's 700 feet above them. They're not getting up there.
All right. All right. I'm
Who
gonna
has
fly.
Who's better?
I'm gonna start flying.
Are you flying straight up?
I'm gonna go up.
Okay.
I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna try to avoid
Well-
any shaft of light, any kind of.
As you're ascending, you hear kind of like a ah sound coming from above, and you see a form falling from the mouth of the volcano down towards you. It's very easy for you to maneuver so that you're not caught out by that, but you do notice that the fire giants kind of look up in that direction. Make a stealth check.
Oh.
You very quickly kind of fly back into the shadows and against the wall to try and just like blend in with the rock face, and you watch as the thing that fell down comes flying past. It appears to be a 8-foot tall dragonborn warrior in kind of like full plate armor, very ornate styling, not too dissimilar from the fire giants across the way in kind of accenting marks. And you'd notice that the Ashradia mark is present on his chest. He goes flying past, hits the side of the bridge, then falls off into the lava. You see the fire giants kind of look up and then kind of look back to the bridge, and then the one with the shield says something in giant, very loud, boomingly. Benson, you hear him say, "Hold! We defend while he raids the temple."
I let them know what was said, and apparently they are defending a temple.
Shambles, you would not hear what they
Right.
say. You continue your movement. You can go ahead and place yourself above them in the left side of the map at any place that you'd like.
On the left side.
Yeah, you cannot be over by the light area. You need to
Got
be
it.
over the shadows.
I'm gonna be. I'm gonna say 50 feet above and behind. Go behind this guy.
All right.
Who's better at diplomacy?
Well, that's not a real thing.
So you can see that the cavern, this mini mountain, there's a cavern, but the cavern very quickly gives way to ornate stylings, not too dissimilar from the heat. You can see that the two symbols of Aleph and Ignos Kai kind of present, the fire goddess and the air goddess. And then you'd also see the symbols of the frost giant and the fire giants. You would see that these symbols are, very kept here and perfect compared to the ones that you've seen in the past. Like someone's actually caretaking this place. And it does look like the pass leads into a much greater chamber, which you assume fills out the entirety of the interior of the mini mountain I mentioned.
You guys got this right.
If you guys could just tell just a bombastic
I'll
lie.
try. Yeah, I'll try. I'll do my best with diplomacy.
Okay, give me a minute. I'm gonna cast invisibility
Okay.
on myself.
All right.
Give me a minute to protect me.
You're invisible for an hour?
I will move quietly to
Until you take an action.
here,
Well, until you take an attack or cast a spell, actually.
and from here I'm gonna move under the edge of the bridge. Spider climbing.
Yep.
I'm gonna go to the opposite edge, climb along the rock face, come up behind the crate, behind the tables, and go back and meet Shambles if I saw him land.
Make a stealth check.
Did not land. I'm still up in the air.
He can see you, though.
15.
Yep, so you'd have advantage because you're invisible, so it's actually a 23. Yep, so you can go ahead and place yourself anywhere on the outside. I'm going to make a line here. Do you see where the line is?
Yep.
You cannot pass that to the right. You need to be left of that. But you can be anywhere like here, but you cannot pass.
Does that apply to me as well?
No, you can. You're above them.
Okay.
If he pops out behind the steps, they're gonna see him. Is what I'm saying.
I guess here comes the
He's invisible.
charisma.
Oh, and the table and chairs in question are massive. They look
Oh
like
yeah,
they're
they fit the giant. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna sit right outside. Well, these open top towers. What are these?
They're open top. They're kind of like they're just basically boxes, like little battlements that you can kind of walk into and settle yourself in.
Yeah,
If you're a
I'm
giant.
I'm just gonna stand right up next to it then.
Yeah, and they're using ballistas like crossbows. So
Classic.
yeah.
Pretty cool.
Good shit. Grok, Benson, Rooklyn, the trio of got left behinders.
Again,
You got about 4 minutes to figure out what you're doing here.
One of you knows invisibility.
Guess we're doing the diplomacy option.
Well, Benson, you can cast invisibility on 2 people with invisibility. You can cast it on more than that, right?
I believe it's only one person at a time. It's a concentration spell.
You can upcast invisibility for more targets. Hold on a second. When you cast a spell using a 3rd level or higher slot, you can target 1 additional creature for each slot above 2nd. So if you cast it with a 4th level slot, you can target yourself, Grok, and Rooklyn. And your concentration would be on all 3. So if you lose concentration, all 3 invisibilities drop, Simo. Or if you willingly break concentration, again, it would break all 3.
So you said kill a 4th level spell?
You'd kill a 4th level spell for that.
All right, I will go ahead and do that.
All right. Whoosh, you're all invisible.
yeah,
And go ahead, and the 3 of you go ahead and make stealth checks. You have advantage for it because you are invisible.
I feel like Zach and I should be ready to attack.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Oh,
boy.
boy. God, you two.
Y'all don't look at just us, okay?
Hey.
Jesus Christ, all 3 of you.
All
They're
right.
sequential.
Wow, that's great.
They all tripped over the same rock.
Okay.
Well, one tripped over a rock, the other two tripped over the first one because they couldn't see him.
So as you're walking, Rooklyn, you are kind of walking, and Grok, again, can't see you. He walks directly into the back of you just as you're kind of moving and maneuvering out of the way of this cleft in the bridge. And you kind of stumble forward and kind of make a loud sound, and you see all of the 3 giants kind of look in that direction. Then you kind of step out, and Benson kind of reaches out to grab your shoulder. And as he does so, he actually pushes you a little forward, and then kind of drags you back. And you step on a bit of rock that falls out from the cleft, and it kind of comes out with a loud crack noise and falls to a loud kush-bloosh, the 200 feet or 100 or so feet down to the lava below. The fire giants on the sides move their crossbows, ballistas, in that direction, kind of focused in on it. The one with the shields kind of steps forward, holding the shields out, and he moves up to this position. Once he does so, you see him kind of focused and looking. The 3 of you currently in your specific stopped spot, they are looking for you, but they're not seeing you. Go ahead and make one of 2 choices here. You can either make a stealth check or a deception check. Or if you have something you want to try, you can also do that. And again, Mishrael and Shambles, anytime you want to do Go Town, feel free to just interject.
do we all make the check?
You can choose to make either another stealth check or a deception check.
Stealth is better than deception for me.
I have a non-combat idea, but I feel like it's risky, and I don't know if it's good.
Go with it.
I do the whole Jurassic Park thing with the raptors. Whoa. Okay. Hold on.
Nobody sees
They
you.
can't see
Nobody
you.
sees you.
Nobody can see you.
Why am I trying to deceive them?
So deception would be something like, you throw a rock over in a different direction.
Absolutely, I will do that.
Or you do like a very quickly kind of get to a place where you know that they're not looking.
Absolutely, will be doing that.
If I cast a spell, will I be out of invisibility? Or
Correct.
Yeah.
no? Oh, dang it.
Okay. So you see Benson kind of take a rock from the
No,
ground.
we don't.
Well,
I see a
See a
rock.
fly.
We see a rock hover above the ground about 2 feet.
It disappears because he's picking.
You see a rock kind of just disappear and then kind of appear out of nowhere and kind of hit. And you see that the giants kind of recognize this. Benson, you can move up to your speed if you'd like in any direction that you want to go. The shields that you're looking at here directly in front of you, they're about 18 feet tall. So if you want to go hide behind them, that's also an option. Or run away. That's also good.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna try to get up behind and just kind of squeeze in there.
All right. Once he gets to that position, the rest of you kind of see that they're kind of focused on the shield and its directionality. They don't seem to be focused on anything in particular, but the 2 that remain, you can hear Benson kind of move in that direction. You don't see him do it, but you know he went that way. And sorry, we're going a little over here. We did start a little late, but yeah, if that's okay. If you have to dip, you have to dip. But Brooklyn, are you deceiving or are you?
I got a higher deception than I do a stealth, so
Okay.
let's hope. Oh, nat 20. Let's
All right.
go.
No rolls necessary for Grok or for Benson at this point. Brooklyn, if you have an idea, you can throw it out, or I can tell you what 22 would grant in this situation.
Let's do the 22 with Grant.
Okay, so you look at the situation. You see that they're kind of focused in on Benson. So you raise your foot up and just step down hard on the stone where it broke out, and you start to see the bridge start to kind of clutter down a bit. You see the big giant with two shields kind of move in that direction through the two shields, creating a window for Benson to kind of move out and get to that position, and for you and Grok to kind of rush around in that direction. He seems too focused and too distracted by the sound of the stone falling to hear your footfalls as you rush over behind him and then rush past the shields beyond. He kind of stands there looking at it, confused, and then he yells something in giant. You see one of the ballistas shoot in that direction and kind of hit nothing, and they kind of just start shaking their heads, and they're like, something in giant, which Benson, you would hear them say behind you as you're moving towards the opening of the temple. Must have been that dragonborn hitting it so hard. And you rush into the temple. As I mentioned, it does look like it leads into a hallway, and I'm just going to narratively beat this out so we can close it out for the day. But yeah, it looks like it continues on for some time, about 300 feet into the mountain proper, into a bigger chamber, 200 feet rather. Bigger chamber, and the bigger chamber is apparently egg-shaped, with like a lower bottom and a higher kind of vaulted top. Inside of the center of the room is kind of a moat around a small landing in the center, and floating above the center is an egg, kind of glowing bright yellow and kind of emanating kind of a reddish light out from it. And you can see standing just in front of it, there appears to be a dragonborn, kind of looking up at it, and kind of just, it seems like he's in the middle of something or doing something, like a conversation or something, or some sort of speaking that you can't hear at this point. And that is where we'll pick up next session. You entering into the temple and seeing the dragonborn savant. Alright, thanks for watching. We'll pick up next week. Pretty fun session, you guys.
It was fun. I have to zip, guys.
Right.
Thanks so much, John. If there's XP or anything, you let me know.
Of course. Later.
Thanks.